Hey, Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I'm just here to ask you a couple questions about your personal experience, your work as a change maker, and kind of your experience leading up to it. So, to start off, I'd love to hear about who you are, what you're studying, and kind of how you got involved with the change makers.
Thank you, Ella, for giving me this opportunity. So, my name is Michelle Clifford. I'm studying in the University of Galway. My degree is in social science, and I'm going into my third year. I'm pretty much also done my third year now, going into my final year now in September. So, getting a bit scary, but um, I joined the Changemakers because it aligned the kind of interest I had with different organizations. Like I have done volunteering with Spun Out and I did two and two, and I had like interest in more like health promotion, which I know lots of people from the change makers have their own individual areas of interest. And some people that it would overlap with mine as well. So I felt that was a great opportunity to meet like-minded people, but also to get my voice out there.
Amazing. So something that I know you've discussed a little bit in terms of your studies is a PLC. I would love to hear from you. What is a PLC? How you got involved in one, and kind of the benefits of doing it.
So a PLC is called a post-leaving certificate, even though you can do one without a leaving cert. So, but it's just the name. So it's a QQI level 5, which would be equivalent to a leaving certificate. And the reason why I done it was because personally I left school because I was bullied. I left school at 16 and I tried different avenues of education, like youth reach and so on. And then when I went to go back to my old school, my place was gone. So therefore I was coming up to 18. So they said that I should look into the PLC. And this was because I would have to start fifth year all again. And I personally didn't want to go and do another 2 years of school. So my PLC was only a year and I did it in Nina, and it was like a normal setting of a school because like as in it would start at 9 and finish at 2, but it didn't feel like school because I felt like it's something I actually had an interest in.
Amazing. Um, so would you tell me a little bit about more about like the contents of what you study, the modules, the kind of learning process, and how it all went for you?
So my PLC was in social studies, so it kind of overlaps my degree now in social science. So the modules we had were in psychology, human growth and development, and kind of more basic ones regarding like working. So we had like health and safety, communication skills. We had like work experience as well, even intercultural awareness, and we had another one that was related more like to social care. So it was kind of care of others. So there was a good mix of modules that kind of helped us display like what we want to do. And even one of them, we got to do a research on whatever topic we wanted, which was I did mine based on kind of alcohol in Ireland. And I felt like that was a good way to get your interest across because everyone had such a different research. And even with the case studies we had for psychology, everyone had different input and a different view of, and I think that's what like school doesn't give you a chance of because usually it's like, what's the right answer? So I feel like that's why PLC is good at times.
Amazing. Yeah, and it sounds like you had a wonderful experience with it. How would you say that a PLC, or would you say that a PLC kind of helps people pursue alternative forms of education and makes education more accessible to people?
Well, in my situation, I had a horrible experience in both primary and secondary. And I always knew throughout it all I wanted to go into college. I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. Like my original plan was fashion, which is completely different from what I'm doing now. But for me, like I just felt like that a PLC was a good option. Like it was a lot of work when I got in because unfortunately some universities do have a low number of people to take through that route. But however, it is growing constantly every year. And I feel like for me, it helped me like see what college was like, even though it was a small setting. but as in you have the independent work and you have, I guess, your confidence building as well. Because for me, I was very nervous. I was like, this is a new place. I felt like I thought it was very much going to be like school, or that it was very much going to be like grade based. Obviously, you need to obviously get your grades to get into college, but I felt like getting the opportunity to learn and to grow. And even we had opportunity to work in Malaga, and it kind of put us in settings regarding our course. And like that was like for me, like the first time I traveled as an adult and like a big step. Like I just said, I'll do it and see what I get out of it. So I feel like it's putting yourself out of your comfort zone, and you get to like learn things you wouldn't have expected to learn.
Amazing. How do you think your experience having taken a PLC has impacted your work in and experience in college now?
So my degree is in social science, so we're very much heavy based and research based. So it very much like relies on critical thinking. And I feel like that's kind of what I needed, and that's kind of what I developed from the PLC, because you're told to like look at something from another view. Like the research might be there and maybe the lecturer might have an opinion, but it's about developing your own view. And I feel like as well, compared to my other peers, I had a start in some things because there was even one or two topics that we covered in the PLC that I did in college. So I feel like that helped because I knew the basic knowledge of it, and I was just kind of able to add on to it. And I feel like as well, like it is a bit different, big classes and everything else, but it gives you like the structure of in communication, presentations, because that's something it takes time to develop, but also it gives you a start for when you have your CV. Like we're doing our CV for placement. Some people struggle to put things down. So I feel like that doing work experience through something like that does help. Um, but also then like I guess that other than the communication and more essay writing stuff, like it did obviously format that, as in dealing with a certain layout and referencing, because referencing is tough in college. Um, so I felt like that it helped me in my learning, but also I guess in my confidence. 'Cause for me, I was very low confidence because this would have been due to bullying in school, and I felt like it helped me ease the stress going into college. Like as in, I wasn't as nervous, and I felt it was easier to adjust to college because of the PLC.
Yeah, definitely. Um, would you say that your experience with the PLC and your course kind of in combination had a connection to your joining stand? Like, what would you say is the kind of relationship between those steps?
Well, I feel like the correlation is standards about making it accessible for everyone, and I feel like that kind of links into education. So for me, I feel like that education should be accessible for everyone. It doesn't matter what their background is. And I feel like it kind of links into like reducing like social shame. Because I know I would struggle a lot with imposter syndrome and kind of shame regarding like my education. So I feel like STAND is about like making education for everyone, no matter what it is. And I feel like it kind of overlaps with my degree. Like social science is very like on impacting, social issues and so on. So I feel like it links in, and it's kind of focused on making, I guess, the world a better place for everyone and everyone to be equal.
How would you say kind of all of this has led to where you are now?
I feel like it was, I guess, what they say, what was not meant for you won't pass you. Because I remember at the time feeling so disheartened when they said about a PLC, and I was like, this is the end of the world. But I feel like that everything, I guess, led to now, as in, like, it's obviously the right path for me. And I feel like as well, like I met on the first day of I guess college, they had a small event for people going to for alternative routes. I met some lovely people that day that I wouldn't have expected to. So I feel like that if I didn't do the PLC, I wouldn't have maybe got some opportunities. I met some people through it than if I just went the normal route. So, and I feel like as well, I have lots of learning lessons and so on, but I feel like that lots of people get lots, even like my brother, 17, you see young people get so stressed about a grade on a piece of paper, a few points. And, that few points to go into college isn't your value. There's a lot of people I know, they feel like if they don't get into this course or if they don't get this grade, that it's and like that they're not going to get on in life. And there is like alternative routes out there, no matter what your situation is or your story.
My final question is if you were looking back at yourself at that phase when you were kind of in between, um, knowing what to do your next steps, or for somebody else who would have been in your shoes, what advice do you have for them?
I would feel like go with the flow, as in don't overthink too much and don't stress. Because like if you do PLC or another type of course, it flies. Like that the months go so quick. So I feel like that don't hold back, talk to new people. Because that's something that I did wish I got a bit more comfortable at the start. Because my course was like mixed with people from all ages. And some of them had like very interesting stories to tell. So because they might have been retired, went back to education or so on. So I feel like that is putting yourself out there and kind of don't let your inner thoughts get to you. Like everything will work out. Because I remember the kind of after the Christmas exams, I remember saying, "This isn't for me. I want to drop out." I was saying that every week that I want to drop out. So I feel like that, and that wasn't because of the course. It's just because I was insecure of what I was doing in my life, and I was insecure of like, will I get into college or won't I? And it did drive me a bit mad, overthinking and so on. But I feel like it's kind of what they say: don't compare yourself to anyone. Everyone's path is different. So that's like another thing. Just kind of, I guess, mind yourself. Like a lot is kind of like as in don't like your kind of like inner thoughts, but also to take opportunities out there.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you.